Today we're going to dive into the powerful idea behind the phrase, love like Jesus. And look, this isn't just about a historical figure or a religious ideal. It's really about a practical, even radical way of loving that can totally reshape our relationships in our lives, no matter what you believe. You know, we often think of love as this spontaneous, uncontrollable emotion that just happens to us. But what if that's only half the story? What if love, in its most powerful form, is something we actually choose, something we build, something we do?
And that's the core idea we're digging into. We're going to break down this active kind of love, a love we see modeled in the life of Jesus, into a daily practice. And it's built on 3 foundational pillars that honestly anyone can learn and apply.
All right, so first up, let's start by kind of reframing our whole understanding here. We're moving away from love as just a passive feeling and toward love as a conscious, intentional action.
This contrast is, well, it's everything. When love is just a feeling, it's pretty fragile, right? It can fade when someone's being difficult or when we hit a rough patch. But when love is an action, it becomes incredibly resilient. It's a commitment to show up for someone even when it's hard. It's a choice, not just a reaction. I mean, think about how Jesus interacted with people on the margins. It wasn't about a warm, fuzzy feeling. It was a deliberate act of inclusion.
Okay, so at the very heart of this active love is our first pillar, compassion. Honestly, this is the engine that drives everything else.
Compassion is so much more than just feeling sorry for someone. It's about actively trying to step into their shoes, to see the world from their perspective, and then letting that understanding move you to do something. The classic example is the story of the Good Samaritan, a man who crossed all these social and religious lines, not out of pity, but because he saw a fellow human who needed help, and that demanded a response.
And this has a huge ripple effect in our lives. When we choose compassion, we start to shift from judging someone's mistakes to asking how we can offer support. We start to see the person behind the fault or the label. That desire to truly understand, instead of just wanting to be right, is what builds connections that are real and that actually last.
This leads us right into our second pillar, which, let's be honest, can be one of the hardest to practice. But it's also one of the most freeing. Let's talk about the gift of forgiveness.
The key phrase here is conscious decision. Forgiveness isn't about condoning what happened or saying it was okay. Not at all. It's about you choosing to release the anger and resentment that are chaining you to the past. You know, when Jesus was asked how often we should forgive, his answer suggested it should be this limitless, ongoing choice, an internal act of freedom that doesn't depend on getting an apology.
I mean, just think about the power in that for a second. Forgiveness literally stops the cycle of hurt. It allows healing to start, both in ourselves and maybe even in our relationships. It's like putting down a heavy weight you didn't even realize you were carrying. And while it doesn't guarantee reconciliation, it definitely cracks open the door.
Okay, and finally, let's get to our third pillar. If compassion is the heart and forgiveness is the release, then patience, well, patience is the endurance that holds it all together.
Patience kind of gets a bad rap. We think of it as just passively waiting. But in this context, it's an incredible strength. It's the ability to stay present and supportive when things are imperfect, when people are struggling, or when growth is just really slow. It's an active, hopeful presence. You could even call it love in slow motion.
And this is why it matters so much. Patience creates the safety people need to be vulnerable and to actually change. It's that steady commitment that says, hey, I'm here with you, right through the mess. It completely transforms our frustration into a quiet, powerful kind of support that allows love to not just survive, but to really thrive through the hard stuff.
So we have our 3 pillars: compassion, forgiveness, and patience. But, just understanding them is only the first step. The real transformation happens when we actually start putting them into practice.
So this gives us a simple, practical framework for every day. In any moment of friction or difficulty, we can just pause and ask ourselves, okay, can I choose compassion over judgment right now? Can I offer forgiveness here instead of holding on to this anger? Can I practice patience instead of just reacting with frustration? These little daily choices are what build this incredible kind of love.
Because ultimately, this isn't just about having better relationships for our own sake. It's about recognizing that every single interaction is an opportunity. The way we choose to love, with real compassion, with genuine forgiveness, and with active patience, has the power to bring a little more healing and understanding into the world. So as we finish up, I want to leave you with this question. Just think about your own life, your own relationships. Which of these 3 pillars, compassion, forgiveness, or patience, is kind of calling for your attention right now?
What is one small step you can take today to start strengthening it?